I'm Alisha.
I'm Isabel, and this is Car Conversations, Brown Girl Edition. Welcome back to the pod. This is going to be an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah. As you can see, it's winter. Well, it's not winter, it's autumn.
Mm-hmm.
So we have loads of lights, and we're hoping that this looks okay, but maybe some editing magic will work.
Yeah, it's a little bit dark. You'll have to bear with us.
Yeah, we're just hoping that the content is still great and you enjoy listening to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, so since we're sort of coming up to Halloween now, we're, I think, a few days until the weekend before Halloween. I think it's only fitting... Yeah, love that. Alicia's wearing a Michael Jackson Thriller t-shirt for audio listeners at home. And it's amazing. I think it's only fitting that we talk about one of the most terrible, most scary, horrible things a girl can go through. It's actually a terrifying experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is experiencing an ex-best friend.
Yeah.
And we have both. So I think it will be quite fitting. It's also good as well because losing friends is like a natural process that happens when we grow up. Yeah.
I think I feel like there's different kinds of friends, and like girls are just so, I just feel like females are so interesting in the kinds of friends we have, and also just like the way we are with friends, because I feel like they're so different to how guys are friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you agree.
I think like society obviously hasn't helped this, but like there can be a lot of like jealousy and competitiveness in female friendships.
What?
Yeah, I know. What the hell? Let's pretend to act shocked. And it's something we all just have to go through. Like, whether it's like a girl is like copying you or like bitching about you, or, you know, just like trying to compete with you. Yeah. With other friends or with guys or with...
And the funny thing is girls, like, they'll still be friends with you, but then they'll bitch about you behind your back.
Mm-hmm. This is just like known at this point, isn't it? And it's like, interesting how with guys they don't really do that.
No,
not at least not to the point that girls do it.
No, but it's like we can't say like neither of us like haven't liked people, you know what I mean? There's like different kinds of dislike that girls face, because we're obviously guilty of like not liking people, and like, you know, there's those memes when it's like, when like you like make that face or like you make a comment to your friend because you don't know if you both dislike them, and you don't want to like say something, and they're like, oh yeah, this person's great, and then you're like, okay, it's just me then.
Yeah, no.
So
I
then
get
there's
that.
just like there's like code for us figuring out that we both dislike them or
Oh, as in like what you mean is like one of your friends will say something, and then you and your best friend will look at each other like we are definitely talking about this later on because what they said was crazy or something like that. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, no, I feel like also it's important to point out like not every friendship has to like have the same requirements. Yeah, like there's you don't different levels. Need all your friends to like do certain things. Like like I know I have like surface level friends that I like just occasionally talk to, and then I have like best friends. Yeah, like people who I talk to like
sisters.
You know, sisters, literally. So we don't always mean like when we're talking about like ex-best friends, it's not just like losing contact with someone or growing apart. It's like someone that you really like invested time with, and then
like me and you not being friends.
Yeah, that's horrifying. In the spirit of Halloween, that is actually terrifying. Jesus. Woo!
Just circling back to what you were saying about like having different kinds of friendships and different levels. I feel like for me that means like sometimes it's like colleagues, because sometimes you can actually have like really good like relationships with your colleagues where you're quite good friends. Yeah. But there's also different kinds. There's some that you'll see outside of work, and then there's some that like you're really good friends but you're not really gonna make plans outside of work, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's like family friends who you perhaps wouldn't like see unless it wasn't for like family. But that doesn't mean you don't get along. Yeah. Maybe like whatever you do and your interests aren't always the same, but like they come together when you're like with family and stuff like that. Those are the different kinds of levels. And then you just have like acquaintances or like friends through your partner that you like, that's not your friend, but you wouldn't say that they're not your friend, for example. Maybe you'd be like, oh, that's your partner's friend.
Mutual friend.
Yeah, mutual friend.
I guess like the point is that they meet different needs, like your different needs.
Yeah, they do.
surface level friends, like just people to occasionally chat to.
Yeah.
Then you have friends that you're closer with that you may chat to like every week.
Yeah.
And then people you talk to every day.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So it's all really important to have.
Yeah. And on that topic is like, I also find it interesting how, I guess this is a reflection on like everyone individually as themselves, but like different friends need different things. Like I have some friends that are like school friends, and I don't need to message them every day, but when I see them like maybe once in a year sometimes, like you pick up where you left off. It doesn't feel like you haven't spoken, but also those people are okay with you not talking every day or something like that. But there are some that kind of don't like that, I think.
Yeah.
And they need some kind of like interaction or like some kind of like, it's like kind of like validation. Like people find validation through different things. Like I think in a modern world, stuff like social media is big, like reacting to posts and like stories,
liking
and stuff like
stories, liking posts.
I think that is like if you have an interest like in actually talking to me or interest in me or the things that I like, then even if you just like my story, I feel like you're actually like paid attention to something that I've done.
True.
You don't have to message me. Like we don't even need to be like really best friends, do we? But like that's like a me thing. Not always. Like I don't want to be like forced. But it's like that's why I like liking a story or something like that of someone's. Like I know I've like I know people from school that are like I'm not necessarily friends with, but you're friends with at school that I don't talk to anymore. But like I'll still like their story and be like there's still like some kind of connection, but not really gonna talk to you, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's like sisters,
yeah,
which are different. So yeah,
where we'll literally take Snapchats of us like on the toilet after like. Yeah, I'm exposing that. We're like, we'll come back from like a night of like being together
of this,
and then we'll go home and like be on our phones in the bathroom, just like sending a snap, being like, "Hey, we're pooping."
Yeah, like we're
together.
poopting. That's what it is. Because I sent Isabel. Yeah, it's called poopting. It's like when you message your best friend while you're sitting on the toilet. Or texting, I guess.
Well, you're welcome for that information. I knew you wanted to know.
In case you wanted to know what pooping is. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess the reason why we're talking about that is because, like, this doesn't necessarily apply to, like, all friends, but also wanted to discuss that there are different kinds of friends, and some people don't know that they're those kinds of friends.
True. Yeah, for sure. But also, like, some people don't know that they're my surface level friends. On the flip side, I have friends that, like, I would have liked to be more involved with, and they see me as a surface level friend. Like, someone who doesn't really talk much, you know? So, it can go both ways.
I think there's, like, a lot of disappointment with, like, people, and I guess that kind of links in with what we're going to talk about is, like, the ex-best friend is, like, sometimes when you want to be quite good friends or like associate or whatever, mutual friends, and like it's not reciprocated, it can feel really, really shit. I spoke to you the start of this year about how like I'm learning to not give effort to people that aren't giving it back to me, because I'm just someone like, well, I'm not this amazing person, but like I feel like I give, and I always think of people even if like they've probably like never thought of me before. And I've realised that it's actually hurting me, because when I don't receive it back, it's not really fun.
Yeah.
So not that I don't want to stop, like, putting in any effort, but it's like when it's not required, like, it's not needed. Or actually just reciprocating the same amount of effort, because if they don't want to give it, then they it's not a big deal to that person, actually, right? It doesn't, it's, like, so it doesn't really matter what you're doing or not doing, really.
Yeah. And also, like, it's good to note as well, people that don't know us personally, or like don't know you personally, you're like a planner. Like, you always make the plans, usually. Like, I mean, 9 times out of 10, yeah, that's true. But like 9 times out of 10, if there's a group plan, or if you're meeting up with your friends, you're the one planning it, you're the one booking the tickets, you're the one planning what restaurant we go to, you know, you're the one putting your time and effort into things. And I feel like that could possibly be your love language, in the way that you treat your friends. Like, you literally go above and beyond to make everyone else as comfortable as possible. And when people don't reciprocate that energy, it can feel really hurtful.
Yeah.
To, like, not have that sort of time and energy invested in you as well. So I think that's also an interesting aspect because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And
we spoke about that.
We've spoken about it before, in fact. Like, I don't like planning at all. And my partner's the same as you. He's the planner. And I just sort of show up and experience. So I'm really lucky that I have like 2 best friends that do that for me.
Yeah.
But I'm putting in more effort for the people I love to do that, because, you know, you're not my surface level friend.
Yeah.
Like, you're my close friend. So.
But to be honest, I think like because we're close enough, we've been able to speak about it, right? So I understand. So now I'm able to understand that you're not that type of person. So I don't actually get hurt when it's not done. I now understand. So now I realise that it's not you not putting effort in with me.
Like, you're not as hurt.
Yeah, but then there's sometimes there's people that you can't have that conversation with because you're not close enough. So therefore you don't actually know if they're that kind of person, or if they actually just don't see you, or they see you as a surface level friend, or don't put that effort in because of their own reasons, basically. So, I mean, I feel lucky to ask you that, and now I know.
I think, like you said, like, we're lucky enough to have friends like that we can talk to. And obviously there are people, like you said, that we can't talk to, but they're not necessarily doing it, like, out of malice. It's just you're not close enough with that person. I think it can become a problem when you are close with that person and they are sort of really starting to do it out of malice. Like, it's like, it's becoming a toxic friendship. You know?
And after you've spoken about it, if it still happens, like, then you're not to blame, they're to blame, right? Because you're only to blame if you don't actually do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there are also, like, when you start to notice, like, a friendship becoming a bit toxic like this, the signs of them not putting in effort, or, like, not communicating to you, like, how we communicate, is just one sign. Like, there's lots of different, like, ways that you start to notice, like, actually, maybe this person isn't my friend.
Yeah.
And I know we've both experienced that. And I feel like it's just so weird. Like, it's such a universal experience for a lot of women, or for a lot of people in general. So I think it's important that we share our experience and share the ways in which we dealt with it, and ways to heal and like move on. Because it can feel like a really big deal when it happens. Almost like a breakup. It is kind of essentially a breakup. It's a friendship breakup. Yeah, it hurts so bad sometimes. Especially when you're really close with this person, you see them every day. You know, sometimes you're in the same classes. It's a common enough experience for a lot of people. Yeah.
And I was going to say, like, I've had so many friendship breakups from, secondary school. So I have a lot of trust issues already, and this is all encompassing in like me wanting to have that kind of validation of like making plans, or like actually responding to me rather than me doing it, because then it feels like I'm just doing everything and they don't actually want it. But that might not be the case, right? But it's like this all encompassing feeling, to the point where like when I was really low, I thought I was the problem, because I was like, how can like I not be friends with like through this many stages of my life.
And keep losing a friend.
Yeah, and keep losing people. And I was like, maybe I'm the problem. But I just think that sometimes, like, also it's good to understand that friendships, like, they don't always last forever, and that's kind of okay. And I've like realized that like friendships aren't the same as like I mean, to be honest, even partners, like sometimes you grow out of your partners and like it's not supposed to last, but like everyone grows. And I think especially at school, while everyone's growing, it is actually probably more normal to not be friends with the same people than it is to be. I don't know, maybe it's like a 50-50, but like everyone's growing and they're like changing what they like and their life's changing. Like when you're at school, you all go to the same place every single day. And then when you grow up or when you go to uni, you've split. And then after that, when you're in life, like you're working every single day. Your hobbies are different, or some people might have kids, which then is the priority, and like so many things change. So I feel like change is a big factor, and like it's okay, it makes it okay and understandable, basically.
And it's necessary as well, because like I think, I mean, we both have like talked about this before, but it's almost like people come into your lives to sort of like help you grow in certain sections. And when they sort of fulfilled that purpose and you've both got what you needed from each other and had fun together, it's just only natural to progress into different directions. And once you've gotten what needs to be, once you've learnt the lesson that, you know, was presented, then you grow, and it's fine to just like, you know, maybe not stay as close as before.
And I think a really good thing that you mentioned is like to learn the lesson, which is what people forget. Like they look at it and they're like, oh, it's such a horrible time, it was a waste of my time, I've wasted years. Like, for example, even with a partner, right? And I'm like, you've learned so much about what yourself and what you don't want and what you don't want to be like. And that's like the same in like friendships. Like I know that I want this from my friends, and if you're not going to give that to me, then I don't want to put that in. So like some people are quite like, they're quite angry or like upset about it, and like they forget that it's like they can learn from that experience and actually like tailor it towards like what they do want, instead of just like dwelling on what has happened. Because it's not, no, I don't think anything's a waste of time. Like every time you learn, any experience you go through, obviously there are some that are like just not really don't mean anything, but like most of the time you learn stuff.
It's true, even if it's like the tiniest lesson.
Honestly,
I think it's only fair that we start talking about like our own experience. Like I have one very specific experience that I can remember back at uni, where one of my friends at the time, there were lots of like changes in behavior, and it wasn't just with me, it was like with my whole group of friends. We all started seeing like changes in her. She was sort of being very secretive. Also, another thing is like, if you have a friend that bitches a lot, you have to realize quick that they're probably doing it about you too. It was a very two-faced sort of behavior.
I think there's levels of bitching, like, or like gossiping. Like, for example, we gossip.
Yeah.
But like there's a level, like you can just tell there's like just like a malice behind it, basically.
True, yeah. There's a difference between like, oh, we're having like like there's like a difference between like having like a little kiki, like we're like a little like, oh, it's a cheeky bit of gossip I've heard. But like compared to like, I hate this person, like them. Yeah, I mean, so with my friend, so there was just lots of bitching. And then with my ex-friend, she started seeing someone who
It's always a boy!
It's always a boy, damn it!
It's always a boy!
God's sake. Men ruin everything. No, kidding. But, like, she started seeing someone that was very toxic. And
they were the person was toxic, or she was toxic?
I mean, they were both toxic. Okay. But the man that she was seeing was very toxic, and he would like often leave her sort of crying at the end of the day, like making her feel very horrible, but she would still go back. And you know, as a girl's girl, as a girl's girl, this is what it is. As a girl's girl, you want to tell your friend, someone you care about, you want to tell them like, look, like you deserve so much better. There are so many other people that could be making you feel happy at the end of the day instead of making you cry, you know, like there are loads of boys out there, there has to be one better than this one, you know what I mean? So we were sort of saying like, you know, if you're happy, then fine, like you can see where this goes, but you're clearly not. Like it was not like, and it was not like they were like a couple who had like arguments, like like lots of couples have arguments and that's normal, but it was like a situationship where it was just like 90% unhappy, 10% happy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it gets to that point where you're like, you can't keep seeing your friend being disrespected multiple times before you have to say something. So my friends and I decided to like, not really hold an intervention, but just sort of say like, look, girl, we love you. We're always here if you need to talk, you know, like just think about your relationship with him and, you know, think about what you really want. And it just got taken completely out of the way we meant it. And it was sort of like my ex-friend totally hated us. She was like, my business is my business. Please don't interfere. Yeah. You know, This is where I found like, and like, this is kind of similar. This is where like the words like to get twisted and used for your benefit. So like I was told like, oh, like friends are supposed to support. This is based on a guy again, friends are supposed to support. It's like, oh cool, but also friends are supposed to tell the truth and tell you how you're actually feeling and not be fake. So please choose. Because like you can't have both.
Because I'm giving you an in-between and being like, you do what you want, but also this is my opinion. But you if you're okay with that, then that's cool, but this is my opinion. And you're gonna throw it back in my face. I just don't understand. And then watch it all be for nothing, because I was right anyway.
Literally.
Because I'm like, oh wait, did you end up with the person?
Didn't end up with the person, so...
Did you fuck around with people's feelings? Yes. Did I tell you that? Yes. Oh.
I mean, it gets to that point, doesn't it, where it's like...
Oh, and who loses friends? Me. Who loses... And you know, I don't know if you had the same thing. But like, did you lose friends within the group of friends?
Nope.
Oh, I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
As in, you're not... Oh, yeah, because you're not friends with...
Yeah.
Because, so, me and all the other people that experience this, we're still friends.
Okay.
Like, we all experienced that trauma. We have shared trauma from that one person.
Yeah. See, mine was like... It was like, I feel like a lot of manipulation and like people were just like being too afraid to just like take a side. That's what I don't like. If I've got a problem, like if me and you had a problem and then like, and I also experienced this a lot when I was growing up with like being as a twin. Like sometimes if I had an argument with a friend, my twin would get affected. Trish would get affected. And I was like, this is not fair because we're not the same people, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not the same people. But like when I'm affected and you're like talking about me and what has happened between us to other friends, and then obviously they're also problems because they're not coming to me to ask what's happened, right? And actually don't want to have a conversation with me, then that's their problem and fault.
Yeah.
Because you're chatting a lot and you know it's because I'm not there to say anything back, which is just like, that's when you just know that person is just like not worth time. It's everyone can bitch and not have that person say anything back. It's like messaging people online, right? It's like everyone's so confident to like say stuff, and then if you do it to your face, it's like
what is it called? Like warrior fingers? Is that what it's called?
Oh, is it? I'm not sure.
Or like Twitter warriors, where it's like face-to-face confrontation, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah. Oh, and we had confrontation, which was yeah. And it was interesting because like I always empathize if someone is not happy with something that I've done to them, which is where I was like, if you feel upset by something that I've done to you, or you feel like I've done something, whether it wasn't intentional or not, I will always apologize because I don't want to come across as a bad person, and I don't think I am. But like, to put it short, I also was obviously going through shit and I didn't get an apology. In fact, it was just like, oh, like, I'm not sorry, throw it back in your face. And I was like, why have I just said sorry? I don't know. Yeah. I shouldn't have said sorry, hey?
It's because as women, we're like programmed to say sorry for things like we shouldn't be sorry about. But that's another topic. You know what? You said something reminded me, like, because we're also brown women, I think another layer that adds to this as well, because like I was in a house of all brown women, and my ex-friend used to say very backhanded things about my culture and my friend's culture, because we're from different parts of South Asia, and like our languages differ, our skin colors differ. And so, like, you know, because when race comes into it as well, it can also be like another layer. You know what? I know. That's why I brought it up. I was like, oh, this is another layer that adds to it. It's all like, you know, layer on layer on layer, and it just becomes like the tension starts to build. But yeah, my
pretty privilege.
Whoop. Yeah, pretty privilege. Let's go there. But my friend. Yeah, so my ex-friend, so she used to say, like, backhanded compliments. So, like, she would just sort of say things like, oh, my God, like, your language sounds really weird. But, and like, very negative connotations between things about... So she would also say, like, oh, you know, you're, like, really light skin for someone down south. Like, you're actually, like, really pretty. Like, your features are...
Oh! You're actually really pretty for an Indian girl.
That's a comment we've heard from multiple people.
Are you sure you're Indian and you're not like
Latina?
Hispanic or Latino?
Ooh!
By the way, like, no hate, because like they're beautiful, and if you're gonna compare, then yeah, like amazing. But like, why is that the standard?
Like we're going to a different topic now, but this is already like this topic that we're speaking about is already quite intense.
Yeah, another layer.
It's another layer. So when added to like, you know, like conflict between friends, then it's like, oh my God, like there's already little things building up. Or like if like we would get sort of approached by men having male attention when she didn't have male attention. It was also lots of projecting. Oh yeah, another thing is she would leave the house without saying anything. because we're all women, you know, we would often like message our group chat or like let someone know before we're leaving the house, just be like, hey, we're going out, because it's rough on these streets, and like if we're going out, we'd like at least one person to know that we're not at home anymore, you know. So just sort of thing like, oh, just leaving the house. It's just like a very normal thing.
Also, you're just friends. You're
just friends. Yeah, I know. Like she would leave the house without saying, and then sometimes we'd message just being like, oh, hey, like who left? Like is like, you know, like, are you going out? Is everything okay? Yeah. And you know, later on she'd just be like, yeah, I left. Like it's just like none of your business. Like I don't know why you're so into like where I am. And it's because she was projecting, because she didn't want us to know that she was going to see her toxic man. So, and to the point where like, because like literally it's so funny, to the point where like and the people that, it might be getting a bit too specific, because the people that know, she would leave the house and then like hide. And once my friend
where
once my friend was leaving the house and she saw her hiding like by our house to not be caught, and it's like at that point it's like, girl, stand up, like what do you think we're gonna do, tell you off? Like we've just told you our opinion on your toxic man. Like if you want to be with him, but like we're not gonna like him, he wasn't nice. It's hard when your friends don't accept, because I get that. It's different if your friend's man is nice. You've heard bad experiences that he's had, but overall he's a nice person, and you're dating, and you know you're going through problems, and it's fine. That's different. Then your friends need to like be a bit more understanding, I think, compared to what this was, which was not dating.
No, they weren't dating?
Well, it was like a situationship. It was
what
just
the
like
hell?
Terrible situationship. Being treated awfully. He wasn't like an amazing person. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like we're friends with this person. It was just...
Also, like, hopefully that she's learned.
That's what I hope. Like,
you know what I mean?
That she's... Because it got to that point where we would be in the same room and she would not talk to us. She would come in the room, do what she used to do, and leave. I don't know what's better. I don't know, because I feel like I had, like, this fake front. And it's, like, chatting, but for the sake of chatting. And it's, like, it's different. Because, like, for example, I knew we were drifting, but I didn't want to be a bitch and be rude and be, like, malicious. Yeah. So, as, like, I thought it's just best to drift, like, normal people. Yeah, no, I get that.
Like, but then it just blew up, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're ending it like this then. You know what I mean? Because I was like, in my head, I'm happy. I understand that friendships, like, sometimes don't last, and I kind of came to that point after, like, 3 years of uni. But I was like, there doesn't need to be any bad intent. Like, you just drift away naturally, and that's okay, because life comes in the way anyway. But, like, when it's blown up like that, you're just like, oh, okay, like... Maybe it was kind of good, because now I don't have a reason to even, like, pretend to be, like, okay with that person.
Yeah. I also remember, like, you telling me about how your ex-friend would ask for advice, and then you'd give her advice, and then she just wouldn't follow your advice either. Yeah. Which I feel like is so... I relate to that as well.
That's where the front is. That's where I feel like the fake front is just to, like, have a chat. But mine was, like, again, like, to do with boys, where it was a lot of, like... talking to loads of people and leading them on, which is totally fair. And well, it's not totally fair. It's me, when I say that, I mean, like, I guess you can talk to people, and if you're not committed to people, then that's totally fine. But I think
I feel like it's knowing when you're hurting someone's feelings, and
what
still
it is.
Doing it.
It's knowing when they like you and carrying on talking to them when you know you don't like them back.
They're sort of stringing the boys
along. It's so unfair. Being like, I know I'm this amazing person, and like all these people like me, and I want the attention, but I'm gonna not give it back, and then like play with these people's feelings.
And then it's like coming to you as a best friend to be like, well, like, what do you think? Like, is my behavior okay? And then when they don't hear the answer they want, then it's like, oh, okay, well, actually, I don't even care anymore. Like, I'm not listening.
It kind of like went in waves, and to the end, I think they knew that I didn't like that behavior. But it's like weird, because it's like, I think it's quite normal to not like that behavior.
I know, like,
you know, right? And they were like not telling me because of the stuff they're doing, but I knew, because it was with like mutual friends that I knew from other people. So I'm like, are you all right? Think about why you're not telling me, because what you're doing is not okay.
Because you know it's wrong. Yeah. And I think there's definitely a difference between like,
obviously as a woman, when you have male friends, this is definitely something that can happen, where it's just like people like you and you're like, why? I thought we were friends.
Yeah, sometimes
that can happen. Yeah. And it's definitely like, you know, as women, we try not to lead people on. Like, sometimes it's just conversation and you don't know if you're leading someone on because you don't know if they like you. So that's a different situation. But it's when you know that, like, they like you and you're purposely leading them on, then it's like...
It's unfair. I just, like, for me, it was like when it was a friend, there became a line. Like, I was just like, this is not okay.
Especially men who... It's not even a fling, like they actually want a relationship.
That's the thing, and I was like, this is not okay.
They're investing their time into someone who doesn't really want anything to do with them, but they're just sort of it's just lots of like mean girl traits that you end up finding out over time.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like after all of it, it's like that person has been like, oh, you're the bad person, like as if I'm the bad person, and then like remove me off of social media as if I'm the bad person, and I'm like, cool, like all right then, if you think that, like I just know like life will just figure itself out. Like it's okay if you think that, because you're wasting a lot of energy putting that onto me and like talking about me being the bad person, and all those people that believe you is also their problem and fault, because if you all want to talk to me and actually discuss, that's totally fine, because I didn't actually want to say anything bad about someone, but like when someone's talking bad about me, it's just like, whoa, do I just have to sit here and not like defend myself? But that's basically what's happened.
No, I relate to that too. Like, I was lucky in my situation where, because I had 3 other girls that also experienced it with me, we all got blocked. Like, we all blocked, but at least we knew together, we had each other to be like, at least we're not crazy. Like, we're all experiencing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I definitely had my fair share of people being like, oh, come on, she's not that bad.
Yeah.
And then me trying to like warn other mutual friends to be like, okay, well, you know, just be careful. Like, this was my experience. Doesn't mean it will happen with you, but just be careful.
Yeah.
And then like later on, like a few months later, getting messages being like, oh my God, you are right. Like, now I've also fell out with this person. So, you know, like, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And people don't want to believe you, that's fine. But you have to protect your peace. And I feel like this is where we learn to heal. Because I really was affected by this.
Yeah, same. And like,
I cried.
Yeah, you like you said, you have people that you came out with. And I had lost like my closer friends that I was really close with. And I don't think that they like weren't on my side. They kind of took the stance of like, we're going to be in the middle. But as life's moved on, for some reason, that's also pitfalled. And they've like stopped talking to me, even though, like what we spoke about at the start of the podcast, like I was putting in effort, making plans. One of them, we made plans and he's like, yeah, and then like doesn't reply to me on the day of making a plan multiple times.
What's the point?
Honestly, I was going up to the place where he lives, doesn't reply. And then what do I see? Like him meeting up with her, like for plans.
At that point, don't message.
But then I was like, this is where then I feel shit, because I'm like, have I done something to you? But it's like, we were talking this whole time, and then suddenly it's not like I've done something in this time. It's like we've been talking since after finishing uni. It's just like gone. And that's happening with
that
like
someone else has been talking.
This is what I'm saying.
They've heard one side of the story and they're like, good enough for me.
I don't understand these kinds of people who listen to one side of the story, and this is where it just infuriates me, because like I don't think anyone has heard my side of the story in this situation, apart from a very, very few people that I'm still friends with from uni, which weren't actually part of that group.
Yeah, but it just shows like what you mentioned before, like you then start to reflect on yourself. Yeah, you start to think, what have I done to cause this person to hate me so much? Like, why have they done this? And it literally sent me into a spiral. I remember crying to my partner, being like,
same.
Am I a horrible friend? Like, am I going crazy? Like, why has this person decided to leave me? Like, I know they've done all this behavior, but surely, like, blocking me, like, not talking to me,
making other people go against you.
I'm also like a people pleaser, and I also don't like the idea of people not liking me.
Yeah, same.
And that's something I've just had to grow and learn.
And that's the hardest thing, because you can't do anything to change their mind.
You can't. And like personally, I already struggle with trying not to get frustrated over situations that I can't control.
Yeah, same.
So when it's a situation I can't control and I don't like not being liked and the person doesn't like me, these are two things that immediately my brain's like, what the hell have you done?
right? So you start to self-doubt. I think it's very natural to feel that way.
Yeah.
To sort of like self-reflect and be like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
But I think it's just important to know that as long as you're accountable for any actions that you've done, you've grown from the situation, and you've said sorry for anything that you think you have done, ultimately you can't change these people's minds. There's no point in trying, because loads of people, they've just made up their mind already, and the friends that choose to believe them as well have made up their mind too.
Sheeps.
You know, they're sheep. So
yeah.
I feel like at the end of the day, you just have to protect your own peace and self-reflect, make sure you're growing as a human so that you won't take it hard the next time it happens.
And that, like, off of that, like, I feel like the same things, and then I also feel frustration that I can't defend myself. The amount of times I wanted to, like, message not, like, friends of that I've lost through and explain, and because my partner's just different to me, he's been like, this person is literally gonna not reply, or is not, they just don't think of it the same way as you, so you're literally wasting your time and energy. And in fact, if and when they don't reply, you're gonna feel even worse. And I'm like, you're true, like, you're right, but like the amount of time and energy it takes up in my brain is actually unfair. To feel so shit about that, because I am someone that wants to defend myself and I haven't been able to defend myself, and it makes me feel so shit that those people don't want to actually hear like my side. And it affects, like, roundabout again back to like what we were saying about what I want from friends. It affects now any future kind of people that I have coming into my life. If I actually want to have a closer relationship and it's not reciprocated, it really pisses me off. To be honest, but you can't force that. So I'm learning how to give what is given to me, unless it's to specific people that I've like been able to talk to about how we work together, basically. But I'm also just very like, I don't like making new friends. The way that we talk in here, I don't talk to everyone like that, and so people might look at this and be like, oh, like Alicia's quite different. But like, if you're not giving it to me outside of this, then I'm not gonna give it to you back.
True.
But it's funny, like, to hear what people's perspective on like what they think they should get, and when they don't even give you anything. It's like, okay then.
It's true. It's like, I've had this as well, like, not even the friend that I was talking about in this episode, but I'm thinking about another friend now that I've also lost. I ended up being the person that would make the plans a lot, even though that's not natural for me. She was even less of that kind of person, so then I ended up having to be that person. And it's interesting that when you plan everything and you think, if I stop reaching out and if I stop replying, we're gonna stop talking. And it's interesting to think, like, if you stop talking to that person, they literally won't reach out whatsoever. They will not reach out. But then the next time you see them, it's very much like, oh my God, how come we haven't, like, how come we never meet? Like I know we're not gonna meet.
But why are you saying that for lies? For fake?
It's very fake. But it's also okay. Like how come we don't do? What do you mean? How come?
I wonder why.
You know,
because I wonder. For me, it's like people that complain about things when they're the problem, like they made the problem. How you speak? You know what I mean? You made that happen. You made us not speak. I was gonna say, like, for example, it's hard and it's a long process, and I'm still dealing. It still affects me, which is like crazy, because I don't want it to affect me. I don't want it to affect my being and the way I think and how I am with friends. But I've acknowledged that it affects me. Like, I've spoken to my close friends to say, like, this is the kind of behavior that I like from my friends and what I want to receive. And it's choosing to put effort and time into people that I think will receive it, and not so much with those who aren't. But it comes in waves. Like, I think I told you, I've had people, like, friends of, reach out that have stopped talking to me and not even spoken to me about the incident. And then when you reply, they just ignore you, and it's like, oh, so I shouldn't have even replied in the first place. It's like, why are you messaging me and then you're not going to answer my message?
I don't understand that.
Now I know, now I've learned, okay, I'm not going to do that next time. I'm not even going to give them the time of day. Not that I am anyway, but like, I'm not going to do that.
And also, I would say time's a big thing as well, because I know when I was trying to sort of forget about my ex-friend, it was really hard for me to forget. It would come in waves. It's like a breakup. It really is.
Yeah, it is a breakup.
Like, it would come in waves. There'd be days where I stopped thinking about it, and then I'd be like, damn, like, I still can't believe we don't talk. Or I would go through old photos and be like, ugh, like, they're in that photo. That's
it's
upsetting. It really is upsetting because like obviously the memories that you had with that person is usually very like they're great memories.
It's great memories, yeah.
So I feel like it got to the point where, you know, like over months and then like years, and now obviously I don't even think about it really until we bring up conversations like this. But I remember the first time where I thought about it after a long while, and I was like, wow, I actually haven't thought about her for so long. That's so good.
Yeah,
I'm finally getting over it. So, you know, I think knowing yourself and being sure about yourself is a big thing.
Yep.
Letting time pass and just heal naturally. And then also like acknowledging things that you may have done and knowing that you've grown from the situation and how to like deal with it for next time.
And what you want from people. Acknowledging also how others are, because just because you want something doesn't mean that they're the type of person that's going to give it to you. It's kind of like love languages with your partner. Like someone might really want you to buy, you might be like, oh, I see that you love me if you buy me things, but they might not see it. Like they might do it by like making you food or like giving you a hug, and if you don't see it like that, don't work. But if you understand how each other works, then it can work. You can kind of like grow around it. And that's the same with friendships, is like understanding,
knowing that you can't control the situation, and that's okay.
Everything that we said I think links into like that learning and that healing as well, because moving forward is also understanding what type of friends there are, because not everyone has to be your best friend, and you have to see like there are people that like I mean, I feel like it was more in school where like there would be people where like they'd stick to those people and they do everything with those people. So for me, I see that as like a school kind of behavior, but I mean there are people in their adulthood that do
still
that.
Behave like that. Trust me, they don't grow up. They're still doing that. If any of you are watching and still in school, that doesn't go away at uni.
Not just uni, like life.
Oh, life. True.
But I think that's also a part of it where they just like stick to the partners, and then you lose friends. That's also another thing where you lose friends from their partners on the same topic. And then it's like navigating that. But you just have to hope that that person has a brain and actually wants to upkeep your relationship. But I personally think in those situations you shouldn't give those people the time of the day.
I also think
there's a grace period. There's the honeymoon stage, and then after that, if they want to choose their partner and not do absolutely anything with you or just whatever, like
ultimately, if you want close friends, they should also be investing time as much as you're investing time in them.
Basically,
it should really, like, friendship is a two-way street.
Definitely.
So, you know, I feel like that is like the biggest point of like healing, reminding yourself like, is this person putting in as much as me? Like, are we on the same page? And
what kind of friends do they think we're the same kind of friends or not? Because also some people like expect things from you, and like, for example, it depends on the level, but like, you're my sister, so if you ask me to do something or if you need something, most of the time, like, I would do that, right? But then if it was just like a surface level friend, you wouldn't. But then also it's how much are you asking? Is it too much for the person? You know, there's just so much.
It's very like nuanced. It's like a case by case thing.
Definitely.
I think, depending on the person, obviously. It's only natural that we go through these processes since it happens to everyone. Like, even men, like, you know, even any gender at this point, you know what I mean? With guys though, I feel like it's very easy. They'll like have an argument and then they'll be like, you know, it's not even that deep, whatever. But
they won't even have an argument.
They'll just be like, it's not even an argument, it's just like a little tiff.
And
then the awkwardness will like go away after a time, and then they'll just be like, oh, whatever, let's have a drink or whatever. And then it's just like solved.
Or if it doesn't go away, then they just like, okay, we're just like not talking to that person anymore. And I'm like, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
But it's like you've seen those memes where it's like when you ask your boyfriend for like details on a situation, there's just like nothing. They've just been like, oh, this person broke up. How? I don't know. I didn't ask. What do you mean?
How did you not ask? What?
No,
why
you
even tell me?
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's not my business. What? Yeah, it is. It is. It's our business now because you just told it.
You made it our business.
You just made it our business.
Oh god.
There's things to learn from like male friendships. Obviously, there's like different levels of that. We're not just saying that all male friendships are like.
Yeah, it's a generalization for sure.
Yeah, but I think some females do need to take like kind of a page from their book, and sometimes like we just take things too personally and like too seriously, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's not that deep.
It's a lot of drama for nothing.
There's a lot of drama in female friendships, which is crazy. But I mean, that makes it fun sometimes.
See, now that's a toxic friend right
Drama doesn't have to be toxic. It's like, I don't want the drama with me. If you're telling me someone's
like
neighbor,
hear the drama.
Yeah, like,
we don't want to be involved.
It'll be like someone's
in the drama.
neighbor's so and so and so.
Tea, yeah.
Yeah, that's tea. I'll drink it. It's chai.
Hello.
It's cha. We can only discuss female friendships, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And like, hopefully you guys have learned something.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys relate. Like, I know if any of you guys are going through a friendship breakup right now,
Yeah.
I know it must suck. Like,
It
it's
sucks.
awful. It's the worst, and you can't stop thinking about it. But I think all you can do is just let time heal. You know, remember that you're not a bad person. Like, even if you may have done some bad things in this friendship, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you're gonna grow from it and learn for next time.
And to be honest, even if you are like, if you have done something that you're not happy with in that, it's like reflecting and realizing what you've done. And if you are still friends with that person, or if you want to still be friends, it's like putting in the effort and like acknowledging, I've done this, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to be, then like moving forward with your other friends, like to try to acknowledge what you shouldn't be doing.
True. Yes.
And then like kind of implementing that, because
that is so true.
Yeah.
Because with my ex-friend, when I was with her, I didn't like my behavior. I became like a different person almost. And when I realized that, I would become more mean. Like,
yeah, you
and
feed
stuff.
off of it, right?
You do.
Yeah.
You feed off of that negative energy. So I remember like when realizing that, I apologized to all my friends. I was like, if I was a bitch, like if I was doing that, which
that's
I know
why
I was.
said sorry, because I felt like I was like feeding off of it, because you know that person likes gossiping or bitching, so you do it because it's like your connectivity to chat about, and then you're just not nice. So that's why I apologized and didn't get a bloody apology in return. But
so I hope like this has given some clarity to at least one person going through this, or that have. If you've been through this, hopefully you can relate, because it's, you know, I feel like it's not talked about a lot.
Yeah, and
weirdly.
to all of our friends, hopefully they know that. You know, like some people think that their friends
we're not
friends.
asking anyone, and trust me, the person I'm talking about, they're not listening.
No,
so
same.
So,
but
to all the friends that love us, thank you. We love you.
We love you. Thank you for listening and messaging us. When you're listening, you know who you are.
You know who you are.
And those people who actually make effort to like, you know, and support and stuff, because there's some people that don't do that, you know.
Yep.
It's funny, I wonder who thinks that they're our friends and we're like, no, you're not. No, I'm joking. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and hopefully if you want to hear more about like friends and anything like this, or our personal stories, if actually anyone wants to, then we will happily in a bit more detail, but like, let's see. And also, like, if you have some stories to share, like, let us know, because they're always fun to read, because it didn't happen to us. Yeah, that would be so cool. If you can all share your stories down, like, and then we can be like, oh, look at this, guess what this person did to this person. Crazy. Y'all can say anonymous. I would love that. I want to do that to another podcast, so I can actually like, please spill my guts. Yeah, everyone spill. We love to read the tea, honestly. Thank you guys so much for listening. If there is any other topics that you'd like to talk about, like, please recommend them, because we're open to hearing suggestions. If you want to listen to our other podcast episodes, we have them on Spotify, and we've also filmed a previous episode before this, so check that out. Might not, we don't know if that's being released before or after this though, so true. I mean, so well, just check the page. We do have that one out. Yeah, we do, so check the page, you'll see there'll be more. We have a playlist called our episodes, or like our podcast episodes, so check those out if you want to see me or /ours getting attacked by a bee. Oh, true. Yes. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it, guys. We love you. Bye from me. Bye from Izzy. And bye from Michael. See you next time. Bye.